The Constitution of India, Preamble. We, the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic and to secure to all its citizens justice, social, economic and political, liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith and worship, equality of status and of opportunity, and to promote among them all fraternity, assuring the dignity of the individual and the unity and integrity of the nation. In our Constituent Assembly, this 26th day of November 1949, do hereby adopt, enact and give to ourselves this Constitution.
Hi children, today we are going to study a new lesson, and the name of the lesson is Keeping the Diseases Away. In the previous chapter, we understood the structure as well as the function of nervous system, as well as different types of sense organ and its function, and the diseases related to the sense organ. As well as in the third chapter, we understood that hormones are produced from the different glands, and these hormones, they are regulating the metabolic activity of the body of an organism, and thus it is maintaining the homeostasis of the internal environment of the body. Now we are into this chapter where we are going to study about diseases, isn't it? Can you tell me what do you mean by disease? Yes, Sanjay, can you answer to me? Yes, good my dear child. A disease is the illness of people, animal or plant caused by the infection or the failure of the health. And already we know that diseases are of two types: communicable disease and non-communicable disease. What do you mean by communicable disease, my dear children? Yes, Sri Gauri. Good, my dear child. Communicable diseases are those diseases which will be spreading from one person to another person, and there is a causative organism such as microorganisms, isn't it? For example, bacteria, virus, fungus, etc. Now tell me, what do you mean by non-communicable disease? Yes, Gauri Nandana. Good, my dear child. Non-communicable diseases are those diseases which are not spreading from one person to another person. Then how it is taking place? It is due to the lifestyle of the organism, or we can say the people, isn't it? Now can you cite one example for communicable disease and non-communicable disease, Hanan? Good, my dear child. Communicable disease example is chickenpox, or we can say the present situation created by COVID-19, isn't it? And non-communicable disease, the example is heart attack, which is taking place due to the lifestyle of the person. As I told you, COVID-19. Can you tell me what is the full form of COVID? COVID. Yes. Yes, the answer is correct, my dear child. Srihari, you have given the correct answer. COVID, CO stands for corona, VI it stands for virus, and D it stands for disease, isn't it? And this disease is taking place due to the microorganism virus. So coronavirus is behind COVID-19 disease. So in this chapter also we are going to study and learn about different types of diseases. It is communicable as well as non-communicable, and the causative organism which is behind the diseases, as well as the lifestyle of the people which is causing the diseases. So we are going to understand about the different types of diseases, as well as the diseases taking place in plants as well as in animals too. So here we go with the chapter. You can see here, this is a collage, and this collage is there in the first page of this chapter, and you can go through it. In this collage you can see here, prevent rat fever, isn't it? Measures to ensure drinking water in flood affected areas. Contagious disease follow flood. So these are all the paper cutting related to the flood which took place in Kerala last year as well as before last year. And here you can see Kerala withstood the incomparable floods with unity. When the flood came, Kerala together, the people of Kerala, they stood together in unity and they were able to withstand the flood. Now the question is, what threatened the state again soon after the great flood? The floods were there, but soon after the flood, what threatened Kerala? And the second question, what are the reasons for the spread of diseases in each situations? Whenever the flood took place that time, something happened and that threatened the state, isn't it? And what are the reasons behind? So that thing which has happened there, it has been said that spreading of diseases, and how the spreading of diseases took place, isn't it? What is the reason behind the spreading of diseases? So here you can see conditions suitable for the multiplication and transmission of pathogen exist in abundance, isn't it? The condition as well as the multiplication of pathogen. If the condition is favorable there, automatically what will happen? The microorganism or the pathogen or the vector or the causative organism, what will happen to it? It will multiply, and when it will multiply, what will happen? Transmission of the disease, that is transmission of the pathogen or transmission of the disease will be taking place, that is spreading of the disease from one person to another person through this pathogen will be taking place as they are existing in abundance. Abundance means they will be multiplying in their number. This may cause the spread of disease. This is the reason, the condition as well as the multiplication is causing the spreading of diseases. Now you can see here microorganism and diseases. How microorganisms they are related to diseases? You can see there are many microorganisms that are pathogenic. What is the meaning of pathogenic? It came from the word pathogen, and who are pathogens? Pathogens are the organisms which are causing diseases. Example, bacteria, virus, fungus, protozoans, etc. Bacteria, virus, fungus, protozoans, all these are the pathogens, or these are the causative organisms which are causing diseases. How are pathogens transmitted from one person to another? These pathogens, they are multiplying, isn't it? Why they are multiplying? Because the condition is suitable for them for multiplication. Now, how they are transmitted from one person to another person? We can see here modes of transmission of diseases, how the diseases are transmitted from one person to another person. It may be through direct contact or it may be through indirect contact. In the case of through direct contact, you can see here what is happening, isn't it? And the same way, indirect contact, it may be through clothing, it may be by hygienic food, it may be by the infected person, which is through the infected person by using the unhygienic food, it will be reaching to the healthy person. Same way by insect and animals, and this may be giving the disease to the healthy person, maybe through the animals, maybe through the mosquitoes. All these are the ways through which the transmission of diseases is taking place from one person to another person, isn't it? The mode of transmission may be of two types, through direct contact as well as through indirect contact. So here you can see a possible disease that may spread in flood affected area is rat fever. So in Kerala, when flood took place, it has been said that after flood the state was threatened by the disease, spreading of disease, and that disease may be rat fever, isn't it? So what is rat fever? Rat fever, it is a bacterial disease. It is a bacterial disease. It has been said that the disease is caused by bacteria, and the bacteria, they enter the body and multiply through binary fission. And what is binary fission? It is a division of cell into two. So we know that bacteria, it is a single cell microorganism, and this cell will be multiplying by doing cell division, and that cell division is called binary fission. So when they enter the body of an organism, what they will do there? They will multiply there, isn't it? And when they will multiply, they will produce toxin, and these toxin destroys the cell of the organism. In the body where they are present, the cells of that body will be destroyed, and due to which the diseases will be taking place. That is the failure of what I told you about what is a disease. I told you in the beginning, isn't it? That is a disease. That is a failure of the health of an organism is leading to the disease. So here the cell is being destructed of the organism by the production of toxin, by the division of the bacterial cell. Now what is the cause of rat fever? It is Leptospira. Leptospira is the bacteria that cause rat fever. This is important, my dear children. The name of the bacteria which is causing rat fever is Leptospira, and the name of the disease is leptospirosis. The name of the disease, that is rat fever, is commonly said, and biologically the rat fever is known as leptospirosis. And leptospirosis is a disease which is caused by the bacteria called Leptospira. Now mode of infection, how this disease is taking place. It has been said that through the urine of rat or dog, the bacteria comes out and remain alive in the stagnant water. I think you may be knowing about stagnant. Stagnant means the water which is present there for a long period of time, isn't it? What, for example, in a coconut shell or inside the tire tube. So that is stagnant water. So there what will happen? The bacteria that is in the rat, when the rat or the dog, they urinate, through their urine the bacteria will be coming out and they will be remaining alive in this stagnant water. Now later on, if anybody is walking through that stagnant water, through wound, it reaches the blood of the person. So how the person is being infected there? Through the wound. Or if the person is feet is touching that stagnant water, or the body is touching the stagnant water, or the hand, in the hand if they are taking that water, surely we know that the skin is having pores. So through the pores or through the wound, the bacteria enters and reaches the blood of the person, and in the body it affects the body cells and releases toxin. Now when it reaches the body, what is happening there? It will be affecting the body cells, and thus when it is affecting the body cells, how it is affecting? By releasing the toxins, and this toxin causes damage to the blood capillaries, and when the toxins are produced, the damage will be taking in the blood capillaries in the body of the organism. That in turn lead to internal bleeding. When the blood capillaries are damaged, what will happen? There will be taking internal bleeding in the body of an organism. I think you would have understood about the mode of infection through which the disease is taking place, isn't it, my dear children? It is mainly through the urine of rat, and in the urine of rat, bacteria is present there. It will come out of the rat through urine, and it will be present there in the stagnant water, and when the person will be wounded, or the person will be moving through a barefoot the stagnant water, what will happen? This bacteria will be entering into the blood of the person, and when the bacteria reaches the body, what will happen? It will releases the toxin, and that toxin will be damaging the blood capillary. Thus, it leads to the internal bleeding. Now, you can see here how leptospirosis is spread. Leptospirosis, just now I told you, it is a disease caused by Leptospira bacteria, and leptospirosis is also known as rat fever. This is the agent, and this is the causative organism. Bacteria, Leptospira is the causative organism, and rat is the agent. And through the urine, what is happening? See, it has been said, splashing contaminated water into the eye. That is one way. The second way, swallowing contaminated water or food. And the third way, exposing open wound that is cut to contaminated water or soil. So these are certain ways through which the bacteria Leptospira enters into the body of the healthy person and causing the disease called leptospirosis. Isn't it? Contaminated water, soil and food. This is the contaminated water, soil and food through which the bacteria is entering into the body and causing the disease. I think you would have understood how the leptospirosis is spread. Now we can see the symptoms of leptospirosis. Severe fever, headache, muscle pain and redness in eyes. These are the symptoms. The person who is suffering from rat fever or leptospirosis will be having the symptoms such as severe fever, headache, muscle pain, redness in the eyes, and this is the structure, or we can say the figure of leptospirobacteria. Now the next thing has been said that rat fever can be completely cured through early diagnosis and treatment. Leptospirosis or rat fever, it can be cured completely. How? If early diagnosis is being done and the treatment is given to the patient, isn't it? That is when the first symptom is seen there in the person, and the person will be, if the person is going to the doctor and doctor is diagnosing it, surely the patient will be recovering completely from rat fever. And next thing it has been said that the realization that immunization is better than treatment to stop the spreading of diseases, and we should have a realization that immunization should be done for the diseases prior to the treatment. So what will happen? The disease will not be spreading, isn't it? So immunization is an important step for stopping the spreading of disease from one person to another person. Now, preventive measures for rat fever. Eliminate the vectors. And what are vectors? Vectors are those who spread or transmits the diseases. Just now I told you, isn't it? For example, mosquito. Mosquito is a vector which is spreading the disease malaria from one person to another person. It is not the mosquito which is causing the disease. Mosquito is only the medium which is spreading the disease from one person to another person. The causative organism for malaria is Plasmodium. Plasmodium, we can say it as protozoan. The protozoan or the protozoa is the causative organism for malaria, and the spreading of disease from one person to another person is taking place because of the vector, that is mosquito. So here vectors should be eliminated, isn't it? And number 2, avoid the situations which help the stagnant of water. That means we should clean the surrounding. There should not be any stagnant water around the house or surrounding us. If stagnant water is present there, what will happen? These pathogens, they will get the proper condition, and they will start to multiply and they will divide, and surely the spreading of disease will be taking place from one person to another person. Next one, it has been said, properly covered food. The food which is been prepared, it should be covered. And drink boiled water. The water which we are drinking, it should be boiled, isn't it? Now, waste materials are destroyed properly. The waste materials which are present there in us, in our body, the waste materials which are present there in the home, they should be disposed properly. And take preventive medicines as per directed by the doctors. When we are going to doctor for medication, the doctor will be prescribing medicine for the disease. So that medicines we have to take according to the prescription given by the doctor. Next one is ensure personal hygiene. This is very, very important. If we don't have personal hygiene, surely we will be having the diseases, isn't it? So personal hygiene should be there. We have to keep our body always neat and clean. So this is the preventive measures related to the disease called rat fever. Now there are other bacterial diseases other than rat fever or leptospirosis, which is very, very important. Now the another important bacterial diseases are diphtheria. It spreads through cough, sneezing or directly from the infected person. If a person is being infected with diphtheria, it will be spreading through the coughing. If a person is coughing, what will happen? The bacteria from the mouth will be coming out, will be reaching in the air, and through the air it will be reaching to the healthy person. So air is the only the agent or the medium, isn't it? And number 2, related to the sneezing as well as directly from the infected person. You can see here the figure, coating in the throat caused by diphtheria bacteria. Here in the throat, coating is taking place, isn't it? In the mouth area you can see coating is taking place. That is taking place due to the accumulation of or multiplication of the bacteria, that is diphtheria bacteria. So here the name of the bacteria which is causing diphtheria disease is Corynebacterium diphtheria. This is important, you have to study as such, my dear children. No spelling mistake should be done when you are writing the name of the pathogen. Corynebacterium diphtheria is the pathogen which is causing the disease diphtheria, and the symptoms are fever, throat pain, inflammation in the lymph gland of the throat. In the throat there is a lymph gland. Already you know what is lymph gland. You have studied in your 9th standard about the lymph gland. So lymph glands are present throughout the body of an organism, and in the case of throat, lymph gland is there, and the inflammation, if it is taking place in the lymph gland, or throat pain is being there, or a fever is there, all these are the symptoms related to the disease called diphtheria. And the treatment related to diphtheria is been said, antitoxins which act against the toxins are used to protect the uninfected cells. And number 2 is take vaccination. Antitoxins are used there, that is the medications are used there. The doctor will be prescribing the medicine and they are antibodies, isn't it? And these antitoxins will be used there to destroy the toxins produced by the bacteria, isn't it? And number 2, it has been said we have to take vaccination to the disease called diphtheria. So these are the treatment related to the disease diphtheria. I think you would have understood about diphtheria. This is very, very important. And the third disease caused by the bacteria is tuberculosis, that is also known as TB. And the pathogen related to tuberculosis is Mycobacterium tuberculosis. Pathogen which is causing the disease, this pathogen is the causative organism. It is causing the disease called tuberculosis, and the pathogen is Mycobacterium tuberculosis. And the symptoms of tuberculosis are loss of body weight. The body weight will be decreasing and the person will be having a very low body weight. Fatigue means tiredness. And number 3 is persistent cough. Persistent means continuously the person will be coughing for a period of time. So these are the symptoms of the disease tuberculosis. Now number 3 is transmission of disease. How the disease is being transmitted from one person to another person. When the patient speaks, cough or sneezes, the pathogen spread into the air. This is how the disease is spreading. That is, the pathogen will be getting into the body of the healthy person. How? It is when the patient speaks, or we can say when the infected person, the person who is suffering from this disease, when that person speaks or when that person coughs or sneezes, what will happen? This bacterium will be coming out and it will be reaching into the air and it will be getting into the body of the healthy person. In this manner, the transmission of disease tuberculosis is taking place from one person to another person. Now the organs of the body parts affected, which are the organs or which are the body part which are affected by the disease tuberculosis, we can see it mainly affects the lungs, then kidney, bones, joints, brain, etc. are also affected. Mainly the lungs are affected, and other than lungs, kidney, bones, joints as well as the brain will be also affected by the disease called tuberculosis. Now my dear children, the treatment related to tuberculosis are, it is been said that by giving antibiotics when the person is suffering from this disease, and when the person will be going for the diagnosis, the doctor, and the doctor will be prescribing the medicine, it will be the antibiotics, and by taking this antibiotic the treatment can be done for tuberculosis. And there is a vaccine for tuberculosis, and that is BCG. It is being given in the childhood itself to the children, isn't it, or to the person. It is used as preventive vaccine against tuberculosis. So BCG is the vaccine which is used there, or which is being given to the person against tuberculosis. You can see there, this is the figure of tuberculosis. Here the person, this is the infected person and this is the healthy person, and this is the Mycobacterium tuberculosis. Now what is being said here? Droplets from cough or sneeze by an infected person. As the lungs of that person is been infected and bacterium is present there, and when this infected person is coughing or sneezing or speaking, what is happening? The bacterium from this infected person is reaching into the air, and from the air it is reaching into the body of the healthy person. This is how tuberculosis is taking place. I think you would have understood about tuberculosis very nicely, my dear children. It's very, very important again. Now, other than these diseases, we can see there are many other bacterial diseases, and their mode of transmission is also taking place from one person to another person. We can see which are those diseases related to bacteria. Cholera, typhoid, the name you would have already known. Cholera, typhoid are the diseases caused by bacteria, and the mode of transmission is through contaminated water. So already we know that during rainy season, what happens? These diseases are taking place, isn't it? It is because of the contaminated water. The water will be dirty, and from this dirty water, the disease is been spreading from one person to another person, and the diseases are cholera and typhoid. Number 2 is tetanus, it is through wound. And number 3 is anthrax, through contact with animals. Anthrax is a bacterial disease, isn't it? Tetanus is a bacterial disease, and tetanus is taking place through wound. And number 2, anthrax, it is being through contact with animals. And botulism is a bacterial disease which is causing through stale food. Stale means the unhealthy food, isn't it? Stale means not unhealthy, we can say it as the food which is not to be eaten. That is, if today we have taken, if today the food is prepared and we are eating after 2 days, that is stale food, isn't it? It's not the fresh food. Next one, gonorrhea syphilis. Gonorrhea syphilis is it is again a bacterial disease, and it is taking place through sexual contacts. Through sexual contact, gonorrhea syphilis is a disease which is being transmitted from one person to another person, isn't it? So this is about the bacterial disease which we have studied in this session, my dear children, and I think you would have understood about the bacterial disease, the mode of infection, and how it can be prevented, or what are the treatments related to bacterial disease. Now in the next session we are going to study about viral diseases, fungal diseases, isn't it, as well as the non-communicable diseases, as well as the diseases taking place in plants and animals. So by this I am binding the session, and my dear children, what all points I have shown here in the form of slide, all these are very, very important. You have to learn it, you have to study it, and you have to understand it very nicely, because the questions related to the diseases used to come in the question paper. If you are having any doubts or any queries related to this topic which I have taken today, you can contact me and can clarify your doubt. So my dear children, by saying this, I am winding this session, and in the next session again we will be meeting. Till then, take care.